Welcome to The Turnover. The format is simple. Take 3 multifamily media network hosts with a maintenance background and put them together. The twist is that, like maintenance in the apartment industry, they have to respond to the unknown. You see, 2 of the hosts don't know what the topic is. The fun part is there's no limit and you get to listen in. So what ideas are we turning today?
Welcome all to another episode with my 2 favorite people in the world outside of my wife and daughter, Paul Rhodes and Mark Sharp, on a very unique episode of The Turnover, a first, if you will. Right. On previous episodes and sometimes on our LinkedIn pages, you might see that we have solicited for guests. Gentlemen, we have our first ever fan submitted question for The Turnover. And at the end of today's episode, we're going to tell you how you could submit your question. When we built this, gentlemen, we decided we were never going to have guests. This isn't a guest. This is a fan submitted question.
Nice.
Okay.
I like it.
I know who the guest is because I'm the one that's going to hit play in a second. But that's all I know. I have no idea what this person is going to say. I have no idea what question she's going to ask us. Oh, I said she. Okay, so I've narrowed it down to half the population in the U.S. I have no idea what question this person, she, is going to ask us to turn over.
Okay.
You guys in for this, or should we just stop the recording right now and move on?
I'm in. Bring it on. Let's go.
All right. So I am not going to even introduce this person. I'm going to let this person introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Hopson, and I am the founder and CEO of Here to Elevate. And I have been in the industry for over 3 decades, so a really long time. And I am so excited to be able to ask this question of 3 people that I respect so much. And here it goes, guys. So AI is a bigger part of what we do every day and has been, and it seems like it's just getting more and more and more and more integrated into our work. And not everybody uses it the same way or at all. So how do you see AI changing the role of service professionals in general? And do you think it's a game changer or just another tool in the toolbox? Can't wait to hear your response.
That was outstanding.
So big thank you to Suzanne.
Huge. Yes. Wow.
Let me, just a little technical difficulty here, boys. Just give me 1 second.
So while Chris is doing that, we were unsure how this was going to work, right? So the link went to Chris's studio. He knew who it was from, but did not watch the question. So we had no idea what was about to happen. But that worked beautifully. Very well done. Okay. Excellent. Since I'm talking, I'll start the conversation if that's okay.
And that's how it works here on The Turnover. So let's turn over that question.
Wow. All right. So Suzanne, thank you so much. That was great. And I do like the question. Me personally, I feel that AI will play a huge part in the maintenance role, but on the automation of work orders side, I think is where we can see the most or the biggest benefit from using AI. You can use AI to triage or to group work orders depending on the platforms you use. And I think, as I heard recently, that Entrata purchased Elise AI, and there are other PMS systems who have their own form of chatbot or AI softwares. And so I think the softwares, the PMS systems, are going to get more and more sophisticated, offer more and more AI technologies. So as you, Chris, centralize your maintenance systems, you'll have your groupings, you'll have your ACs group of people who do ACs. And so as technologies increase, as AI increases, when those work orders come in, I see it being that the AC work orders get distributed to those individuals and bypasses the other individuals who don't do AC work. Maybe I'm mischaracterizing or thinking a little too far down the road, but I do see AI being a tool in the toolbox, not replacing the individual maintenance worker.
I have a question for you, Mark.
The teacher would like to. The teacher of this episode would like to call on Mr. Paul Rhodes, who has a question.
No. And the reason why I bring this up, or am going to ask it this way, is Chris and I have had 2, maybe 3, like public conversations.
Public debates.
Oh, so I was going to call
not
the conversation.
Count the number we've done it in private.
Disagree. Yeah, that's true. About this, and my opinion on AI is evolving. But before that happens, Mark, because Chris and I have duked this back and forth several times. My question to you, kind of a follow-up, is what time frame do you see this progression towards centralization happening?
Not say that word the rest of this episode, please. Let's just focus on AI, and let's stay focused, gentlemen. Somebody has to be
collapses.
Paul, I will mute you so fast.
I opened it up because I said it. So, but I do think AI is going to play a major role in that word. It has to.
Yeah.
I'm asking it not from not from that purpose. The ability of AI to disperse the work out to where it goes in whatever format that is. What time frame do you see that? Do you see that in 2025, 2026, 2027? When do you think that is? Because that's going to lead into my comments.
I think it's already here, Paul. I just don't think we're utilizing it.
Ding, ding, ding. That is it, because my thoughts are right now on your properties, the properties that you visit. How many of our maintenance technicians have access to a full laptop computer or Chromebook or some other way, or are actually comfortable in a business setting on this device?
Right.
Because until at least one of those things has to happen before full AI implementation of whatever platform or type can begin to take off. And if our management companies aren't starting with increasing that comfort level, then we're not ready yet.
Correct.
I think, to answer Suzanne's question, I think it is a game changer, and it's also a tool in the toolbox. And recently had a maintenance supervisor who is, let's just call him tech adverse. And I said, it is your mobile device that I am asking you, Mr. Maintenance Supervisor, to open and close work orders on and take photos of your completed work is a tool. Would you tell me that you don't like to use a plunger, or you don't know how to use a plunger? I am giving you a tool. I am asking you to use a tool to make your job easier. Yeah. It is not about me. It is not about data reporting. While KPIs are important, while data tracking and work order tracking and closure is important on an organizational level, I am giving you a tool. You can't lose a piece of paper. You can't lose your phone like you can lose a piece of paper, sure, right? Sure. Technicians are able to take photos of completed work before, where it was just, I got the resident signature, and that's what got submitted to the office. Technicians are able to log in and out their time in the unit and time out. So we can go, is there a training opportunity here for Johnny? Now, I know that's not AI, but that is a huge component of the data collection
Yes.
AI needs
Yes.
and AI type programs that are needed for us to create a more efficient work schedule, to automatically order parts and materials. If our team members we need the data from the people who know what the data is, so we can make their jobs and lives easier. Does that make sense? That's my stance on it. From the technician maintenance supervisor level.
Yeah.
You know, you bring up an interesting point that my brain is going on, and that's learning curve.
Yeah.
You know, anytime you or I have gotten a new tool, have you made the transition yet from an analog set of manifold gauges to a set of digital manifold gauges?
I haven't.
It's a cool thing when you get them, or if you use them. They are really, really cool. It's fascinating. It's this awesome technology. But the first time you take them out of the box, you're like, wait a second, there's buttons. What do those numbers mean? There is a learning curve to go from what you're used to what you're not. And I'm wondering if we actually need to begin now planning for our management companies to understand that the first time we sit all of our technicians down in front of an AI tool, solution, portion, part, are we as a realistically industry going to be ready for our maintenance technicians to spend a half hour to 45 minutes standing in one place the first time they use this thing, and for their first result to be poor, or as oh my gosh, I'm wondering, what's going to happen for our regionals and our leaders when this rolls out to the properties and they expect the amount of data and analytics and reporting that they are now becoming used to, when all that stuff from these maintenance technicians, let's be honest, when it breaks, because maintenance technicians, we're not digital natives. Those of us who have to use this thing, we're still not digital natives. You begin talking about algorithms and prompts and all that other stuff, and I'm almost wondering if we got to have a culture shift in order for that learning curve to take point.
It needs to happen, and I think that, especially our industry is well behind, say, the commercial industry. I mean, they were using technologies, digital technologies 15, 20 years ago. And it's like, I feel like we're just starting to use it now, right? Industrial plants, commercial buildings, they've been doing this for a lot longer. They were on digital PMS systems before they ever came to multifamily housing. I know that. I've seen that. We've talked about that. So I think the learning curves are getting shorter, especially with technology, because of the speed of technology. What we're seeing is our industry has I used to be one of them, I swear, a younger demographic. Yeah, I know. And they are much quicker to pick it up. So as we see that generation move, through and up in our industry, it's going to be there. But we as leaders now have to embrace it, be ready for it, to help shorten that learning curve. We can't use, that maintenance team member is tech averse. That's not an excuse. That's like, again, back to my example, I'm adverse using a multimeter. No, you're not adverse using a multimeter. It is a tool to do your job. And AI, back to Suzanne's question, I'm going to keep bringing it back. It's a tool, but it's also a game changer.
Yes.
I've talked about it before. And Mark, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, because Paul and I have looked at this. I use AI a lot. I'm not going to lie, and I think that, like any tool, the more you use it, the better you become at using it. I think for mid-level management, has to become proficient at it first, because you can't teach somebody if you don't know how to use it. And I'm talking to too many people that go, you're using it for what? And then I explain what I'm using it for. I'll give you an example in a second. And they go, I never thought about that. And I'm like, why? Why didn't you think about it? And then I get a litany of excuses. One example, and I've talked to Paul about this, and then Mark, I'd love to hear your thoughts, is scopes of work. I've said this example 100 times, and I will say it again, because it would take me, let's just say 2 hours to write a really good, solid scope of work to remill a parking lot. Many communities in our country have parking lots. Many of our maintenance supervisors don't even know the product names that a pavement company would use.
Mm-hmm.
I learned it over my years without AI of PSIs that, that need to be used, the type of materials that need to be used, how deep asphalt needs to be, how high curbing needs to be. I learned all of this over my years of experience, right? That being said, it still takes me 2 hours to write a scope of work to remill a parking lot, because I want to make sure I get everything right in the correct order. All the details are correct. Now, there's information I need from the site. How large is the site? How many parking spots are there? How many handicap spots? So there is some data that I need to get for my AI. Mm-hmm. But I can plug in, let's just say 3 sentences. I need to remill a parking lot, right? Create a scope of work to remill a parking lot 4 inches deep, 452 spots. I want to restripe it. This is the square footage. By writing those 3 sentences, which takes me all of 3 minutes to write once I have some of the data that I collected, I have, on the 4th minute, if you start the clock from when I start typing the sentence, by the 4th minute, I have a 2-page long detailed scope of work document.
Yep.
And people, their mind is going, well, you still have to read it and make sure it's completely accurate. Well, no crap. I have to do the same thing to every email I send out too. I write a single draft of an email and then I reread it again. But you know what? That's minute 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Let's call it minute 7.
Right.
So now I've spent 7 minutes on a task that used to take me 120 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I now have 113 minutes that I can move on to do something else.
That's right.
So when I tell people that, they're like, oh, I didn't know you can do that, or I'm afraid of doing that. And I said, why? Yeah. I saved myself 113 minutes. Time is something, nobody gives you more of it. You can't get it back when you lose it.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a game changer. That's why I embrace it for even small tasks, because I want to see what the output is.
Yeah.
If it's going to save me time, it is a time saver. It is not replacing me, because you know what? Somebody still needs to write those 3 sentences, and you have to have enough knowledge to write those 3 sentences. Not everybody could write those 3 sentences properly to get an outcome.
Sure.
So, Mark, I'm going to step off my soapbox for a second. So I'm going to end this AI sermon, my dear brothers in the industry, and I'm going to let me know what your thoughts are and what your use of AI is.
So I use AI all the time. I am a fan of AI, but I also know that AI, at least how I use it, to use your example of your 3 sentences, you put in the details that AI would assume. So by you being specific to what you're asking, AI can give you more specific scope of work. I think when I've seen other individuals use AI, they're expecting AI to provide the details. And I'm going to try to explain this. It makes sense to me in my head. But for example, everyone has heard of ChatGPT. If I go on ChatGPT and I say, ChatGPT, create me a training plan for household appliances. here are the appliances: stove, range, or stove, dishwasher, refrigerator, washer, dryer. Give me a training plan on those 5 appliances. It will give you a training plan. It will say, okay, spend 10 minutes talking about this, 15 minutes talking about this. But if you get specific about what you're asking it to produce, it can give you more. It can close it in, because you have to be precise about the information that you're putting into AI in order for it to give you the results that you want. That's what I'm trying to relay. AI can only give you what it receives. So these property management softwares, like you mentioned, Chris, you can close out work orders on apps on your phone, and you can take pictures of the work that you did. You can check in, you can check out, you can even label the part you use. So for procurement issues, you can even start to label the parts that you use. And that's where I think AI will be the most beneficial to us as maintenance. Okay, here's how long it takes to do this. Here's the parts you use. Here's the person or the company that you use. Here's where, say, I use company A to get all of my HVAC stuff because they just have better buying power and they can get things to me faster. Company B can get me my household maintenance items. I can get window locks, filters. I can get disposals, door stops. AI has the capability and will have the capability to do all of those things if maintenance personnel use the PMS systems the way they're supposed to be used.
So you're talking about using the AI, which I agree with you. It's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a tool. I'm on the side, just for clarity, that I'm not sure this avenue is a good one for us to go down. We're going to go down it. It's going to happen. It's here. It's already out of the box. But I'm on the digitally resistant side of what you're describing, Mark, is the quick path to being able to offer our customers and this is where the mind blow of what you were saying just happened. We are this far away. Once that data is collected and the AI is trained on it, at what point do we offer a service to our residents that they can pay this much and have full maintenance service, or this much and receive IKEA-like instructions on how to repair the most common work orders of, here's our parts closet. Your toilet is clogged or overflowing. The AI, through the use of the resident's phone, they get pictured instructions, getting around the language barrier, on how to do the specific information. I don't like that. I don't want that, because we lose our job security from a very selfish standpoint. From a wider standpoint, okay, I'll say it. This allows, as a industry, this provides headwind for the continued increase in the pay ranges that maintenance supervisors are getting now and maintenance technicians are getting now. We're finally starting to see that creep up over the past 4 or 5 years. And that this specific tool, and this, I get, maybe this is the game changer, that our technicians will end up having less responsibility. And Chris, to your point, yes, this could free up time, but what will end up occurring is the time that is left over is spent doing the low-skilled manual type tasks that our maintenance, we need maintenance technicians. I agree with you. The AI, it will work on the computer front, on the data, on the analyzation, on the spreadsheet generation and report generation. It won't help anytime soon, at least, in the replacing an outlet, physically installing a faucet, turning an apartment. So if we put that responsibility onto our residents, which is where the capability is headed, at what point does it become a net negative for our maintenance teams and for us? I mean, that's kind of the long-term outlook of AI, is the decrease in... Yes, I know this is where it gets into science fiction, and I treat Terminator as a documentary, not an entertainment film. But really, that's where we're headed.
But that's
yes, we're going there. And yes, yay right now. But wait a second. That's my thought process.
People can do that now, Paul. I mean, people who rent in our apartment homes, they can go on YouTube right now and look up videos on how to fix their faucet, how to replace an outlet, how to replace a switch, how to, but they don't, because they're renting an apartment. Their thoughts are, I'm renting, I'm not going to fix anything. That's up to you.
Because that's not, we have, as an industry, we haven't figured out how to capture that in our business model. I mean, you go to any grocery store right now, any retail market right now, and I was in Whole Foods 2 weeks ago, and you go to Whole Foods and there is not a person in an entire half of the cash register line. You plug in your account number and you just hold, you don't even wave the barcode anymore. You hold the item up in front of the camera and then put it in the bag. And it not only does it capture that purchase, it bills your account. It does the whole process with 0 people involved. It's just you. And the problem there is I, the customer, received 0 benefit for doing that work. And what I'm saying, at what point do we as an industry, and it's probably a net positive for the industry, at what point do we say, okay, for you, it's $1,500 a rent if you want full maintenance service, or it's $1,250 a month rent if you want fire, flood, or blood maintenance service?
Right. Or even now, we talk to a lot of people. We've been doing this a long time. I'll be honest with you, Paul. I hope people are listening to this episode because somebody just had the aha moment that I personally have never heard. How could we shift the model of how we do maintenance and monetize it? I have no problem with monetization of maintenance. I really don't.
No,
right?
I agree. And for clarity, I have no problem with that either. I
wasn't saying you did. I'm just saying pro. Right. So if any organization, if any supplier partner is listening to this right now and wants to figure out how they can monetize their maintenance, my email address is, no, but I think that that's a really unique perspective to handle some of the things that we have talked about on a recurring basis, right? Centralization. Oh God, sorry. The staff shortages that we experience in our industry or in certain markets. Mark, to your point, residents do go on YouTube, right? You could create an a la carte menu. Here's an instructional video on how to change your smoke detector battery yourself. Here are the tools that you need. Here's exactly how you do it. Or click this button and we'll send a maintenance service technician and the cost will be $49.95. I know, but there's possibilities of that, and that is a realistic thing. I know one of the organizations I worked for, we had a new move-in guide that showed, it was a 3 pamphlet. That's all it was.
Yeah.
How do you turn your water off? How do you change your smoke detector battery? How do you identify a switched outlet? All things we get calls about on a new move-in.
Hey, I still remember a conversation at a conference. This was pre-COVID, with a company that was, and I couldn't tell you the company or even what area of the country they're in. They were making QR code stickers that during the turn, They put the QR code on the garbage disposal. They put the QR code in the cabinet above the they put the QR code above the cabinet for the kitchen sink, on the side of the toilet tank, so it wasn't obvious. But the resident could scan the QR code, and it pulled up. At that time, it wasn't video, but it pulled up a one-page PDF on how to reset your garbage disposal, how to clear out the aerator, how to plunge a toilet. And direct resident-facing ability to self-serve. And at the bottom, it said, call this for maintenance. And yes, I think those, okay, in the heat of the moment, if a resident wants to do that, great. But I guess the question I have then is, at what point and I think this does kind of go back to Suzanne's question, at what point does AI stop being a tool and it becomes an excuse for us as an industry to, let's be honest, force our residents to self-serve? You're muted. You're on the mute button now.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
With that, I am going to wrap, because I think that this is an ongoing discussion. I think that this is something that, as an industry and as industry leaders like the three of us are, we need to keep talking about this. We need to, get other people's input. We need to get other people's ideas. So I really want to thank Suzanne Hopson, founder and principal of Here to Elevate. She is also a host on the Multifamily Media Network. Her show is absolutely amazing. It's Multifamily Elevated with Suzanne. And thank you for our first ever
That was great.
audience question. So if you are still listening to our episode, thank you so much. We went on a lot longer than we anticipated, but it was such a great question and a great debate with my two colleagues and dear friends. If you have a question for the turnover, please reach out to any one of us on our social media channels, or go to multifamilymedianetwork.com and leave a comment on one of our pages. Don't tell us what your question is. Just say in your communication to us that you would like to ask a question of the turnover. We will reach out to you with the how to do that and a link that you can record at your own time in your own environment. And we will be surprised and ready to turn over your question as we're ready to turn over each of our individual questions this week.
Nice.
So
ready?
Please.
Nice.
Man, you've got high aspirations. Ready? Really? That's a high bar.
Well, I think on the next episode, I'm going to see how ready you are. So come back and join us for our next episode of the, I almost said Multifamily Mixtape. Forgot where I was for a second. Thank you for joining us. Shameless plug for Mark's podcast. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Turnover with your hosts, Paul Rhodes, Mark Sharp, and myself, Chris Caramanica. Please check us out, like, subscribe, comment, and really, we want to hear from you. Come to us with your questions. We want to answer them, whether they're funny, whether they're serious, whether about our journeys in the industry or things that we experience or you experience. We want to help solve problems. We want to turn over your questions. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Now it's your opportunity to respond and let us know what we missed. If there's any topics of conversation you'd like us to turn over, head over to multifamilymedianetwork.com and leave us a message.